In the world of high-stakes espionage, the most dangerous weapon isn't a bomb or a gun, it's trust. And no one weaponizes trust quite like today's subject. She is a relic of the Cold War, who outlived the empire that forged her, a ballerina whose dance floor is the battlefield, and an Avenger who has killed more people than most villains. Today, we're opening the Red Ledger on Natalia Romanova, the Black Widow. Welcome back to Marvel Echoes Resonance. I'm your host, Will, and today we're stepping into the shadows. If you grew up in the 90s like I did, watching GoldenEye and reading Tom Clancy novels, you know the vibe of the Cold War spy thriller. It's all concrete brutalism, snowy courtyards, and a moral ambiguity. That's the DNA of the Black Widow. But here's the thing about Natasha, or Natalia Romanova, to be precise. Her history is a lot like a funhouse mirror. Depending on which decade of the comics you're reading, the reflection changes. And that is actually the point. Her origin is defined by misinformation. We first met her in Tales of Suspense number 52 back in 1964. Back then, she wasn't a superhero. She was a femme fatale villain, a literal spider sent to seduce and destroy Tony Stark. She was the anti-Iron Man. Where he was the American industrial arrogance, she was a Soviet subtle subterfuge. We talked about Iron Man's Cold War roots back in episode 4, and the Widow was the other side of that coin. But to understand the echo of this character, we have to go back further than 1964. We have to go to Stalingrad. In her canon backstory, Natalia was an orphan of World War II, saved from a burning building by a soldier named Ivan Petrovich. Now, Ivan is a complicated figure, part father, part handler. He raises her, but he also hands her over to the state. And this is where the story gets dark. She enters the Red Room Academy. Now, if you've listened to episode 7 where we broke down Wolverine and Weapon X, you know that Marvel loves a good super soldier program. The Red Room was the Soviet answer to that. But unlike Weapon X, which wanted to build a feral beast, the Red Room wanted to build a precision instrument. They biochemically enhanced her, slowing her aging and boosting her immune system, which is why she looks 30 and has the memories from the 1940s. But the real conditioning was psychological. They implanted false memories. For years, she believed she was a ballerina at the Bolshoi Theater. But the tragedy, the echo that the ballet was just a cover for martial arts conditioning. She was dancing, but she was dancing in blood. Think about The Matrix. That idea that your reality is a construct? Natasha lived that way before the movie. Her defining tragedy, however, came from her marriage. She was married to a pilot named Alexei Shostakov. The KGB faked his death to turn him into the Red Guardian, the Soviet Captain of America, and used his death to drive Natasha into the arms of the Black Widow program. They weaponized her grief. They told her, "Your husband died a hero for the state. Now you must live for the state." So her origin isn't just training. It is the systematic dismantling of a human being, stripping away the wife, the dancer, the woman, until only the widow remained. But the resonance, the thing that makes her a hero, is that she broke the programming. And she didn't do it with super serum or a magic hammer. She did it because of a connection. Specifically, her connection to Clint Barton, Hawkeye. He was the first person to see the woman behind the weapon. When she defected, it wasn't a political move. It was an act to reclaim her soul. Throughout the 70s and 80s, she evolved. She led the Champions, a mismatched team of oddballs like Hercules and Ghost Rider. She led the Avengers. She wasn't just a spy anymore. She became the team's pragmatic backbone. While Cap deals with the ideals and Tony deals with futurism, Natasha deals in reality. She's the one willing to make the hard calls so the others can, keep their hands clean. So we're going to fast forward like we always do to catch you up in the last decade of Natasha's life, because things get incredibly complicated, even by comic book standards. If you were reading comics around 2017, you may remember the Secret Empire event. This was when an evil Hydra brainwashed version of Captain America took over the United States. It was a bleak time. Natasha, being who she is, decided the only way to stop him was to kill him. She stepped up to take the shot that no one else would take. But in the chaos, she was killed. And I don't mean comic book dead, where they fall off of a cliff, vanish. I mean, we saw a body, and it was brutal. But, and with the Black Widow, there is always a but, the Red Room wasn't done with her. It turned out the Red Room had been using the downtime to clone their greatest assets. They brought her back. But this wasn't a resurrection, it was a backup drive. They uploaded her memories into a new clone body, but they tweaked the code a bit. They wanted their loyal assassin back. This kicked off one of the most fascinating eras in Tales of Suspense and her subsequent solo series. Natasha had to kill her own creators again and destroy the cloning banks, so she couldn't be used as a puppet ever again. She literally burned down her own immortality to ensure her freedom. From there, we move into the Kelly Thompson run, which in my opinion is a modern masterpiece. It starts with Natasha disappearing and resurfacing in San Francisco with a perfect life. She has a fiancé, a house, a motorcycle, and here's the kicker, a baby son. She is happy. For the first time in 80 years, she's just normal. But like the Bolshoi memories, it was a construct. It was a trap laid by the villains to keep her off the board. And when the illusion broke, she had to make the most devastating choice of her life. She had to walk away from that family, from her son, to save them. It provided that underneath the assassin conditioning, Natasha's superpower isn't her bite, it's her capacity for sacrifice. She briefly operated as the White Widow, and during this time she had a new white suit, and it was quite visually stunning and signaling a clean slate. And finally, bringing us to the From the Ashes era, which was late 2005 and 2006. After a wild detour, she bonded with the symbiote, Venom style, and regained some of her lost memories. Natasha is back in the shadows. She's currently operating as a global fix-it agent. The world doesn't trust the Avengers or the X-Men, so they need someone who operates in the gray. Natasha's rebuilding her network, training her generation of widows to be heroes instead of weapons, and finally truly dancing to her own tune. It's been a long road from the ruins of Stalingrad to the skyline of San Francisco, but Natasha's story asks a fundamental question about identity. If your memories are fake, your past is manufactured, and your name is a code, what makes you you? Is it what you were made to do, or is it what you choose to do? So I'll leave you with this question. Do you think Black Widow's red ledger can ever truly be wiped clean? Or is her heroism defined by the fact that she keeps trying, even knowing it's impossible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for listening to this episode of Marvel Echoes Resonance. I hope the deep dive into Black Widow gave you a new appreciation for the Avengers' deadliest member. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you subscribe and follow so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Leaving a like and a 5-star review really helps the podcast grow. Also, leave a comment for future episode ideas and tell me which era of the Black Widow is your favorite, the 90s bomber jacket or the classic stealth suit. Until next time, true believers, make mine Marvel.